Hello, world. All right. So, good morning, everybody. I hope you are having an awesome day. So I've been wanting to start a podcast for a while now. I've wanted to start the show for a while now. It's something that's been on my heart, and I've really looked forward to doing it. And now I have the opportunity to do it. So I've managed to get myself a little bit of time. So I'm really excited to share with you guys a lot of what's been on my heart. And my aim with this podcast is to speak on different things happening in our culture from the lens of Christianity. I think we live in a world that's just so crazy that we often need people to help just kind of sort through some of the stuff that's going on in the world. And I feel like I have a pretty good perspective on things. I'm not going to claim to be an expert, but I feel like there's a lot of things I'm really passionate about that I know enough about to be confident in sharing with you guys. But I'm also open to learning. So if there's something that I'm dropping the ball on, or that you think I could do better, definitely give me feedback. I appreciate it. And so I'm really excited to share this podcast with you guys. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you for being here. And so I'm just going to get into this topic today. So we are going to be talking about abortion. And I know that this is a controversial issue. I know that a lot of people struggle with making the choice of getting an abortion. I know it's not something that's easy. And I want to handle it delicately. I know that this issue comes with a lot of heartbreak and a lot of people who have made this choice agonizingly. And I want to let you know that if you're somebody that has made the choice to get an abortion, or somebody that's thinking about getting an abortion, I want you to know that that I don't condemn you. I don't hate you. I think that's a big misnomer, especially with the Christian community, is that we hate people who are getting abortions, and that's just not true. That's not true at all. And I wanna be the first to tell you that that we don't hate you. In fact, we love you. Even though we disagree with the act of abortion, we love you as a person. We think that you have inherent value, and we think that the person living inside of you has just as much value as you. And that's why we are so passionate about protecting the lives of the unborn. I think it's one of the greatest human rights travesties that we've seen in our generation. And I think that the unborn deserve the same type of protection any other human being is entitled to. That they deserve life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That they too have been endowed with those inalienable rights by our Creator God. And that we should do everything in our power to protect them. And I think that's our responsibility, and we have to take it seriously. And I think for a long time we've been really quiet on the issue, and the bill that was passed in New York has kind of revived that. And I will admit to being somebody who was apathetic toward abortion. Not that I didn't care about it. I've always cared, but I didn't feel compelled to say anything about it. I wasn't compelled to speak up about it in my own church. And after the New York bill, the Reproductive Health Care Act passed in New York, it was like it just kind of reignited the passion in my heart for the lives of the unborn. I really look at them like they are people. So I'm unapologetically pro-life at conception. That's where I believe life begins. And I believe from that point we have a human being developing inside the womb of a mother. So I'm all for women's choice, and I respect your right to choose, but the point where I stop respecting your right to choose is when another human being comes into the picture. That's where I draw the line. So, if you want to get your ears pierced, go for it. If you want to get a tattoo, fine on me. If you want to get a unicorn horn attached to your head, be my guest. I don't care. You can do whatever you want with your body. That's your prerogative. But where I draw the line is at abortion, when another human being is introduced to the picture. So with abortion, babies can feel pain inside the womb. They have even at conception now, they have their own genetic code, their own DNA that makes them a distinct human being. So I believe that these babies are lives from that early stage, and then they just continue developing into human beings. And because of that, we have to care for them. We have to love them. I went to go see the movie Unplanned with my wife on Thursday night, and it was it was really nice to get out, because my wife and I had not gone on a date since our daughter's been born. So that was really nice. So we got to enjoy our time together. And then we went to go see the movie Unplanned, and man, was it rough. It was difficult to watch at times, and for those of you who are unfamiliar with the movie, Unplanned follows the story of Abby Johnson, who worked at a Planned Parenthood facility as a director. So she had worked there for 8 years and worked her way up to be a director of a Planned Parenthood facility, and her stance on abortion actually changed when she actually witnessed an abortion being done through the sonogram. And it was and the movie doesn't paint a pretty picture of this. It shows abortion exactly how it is. And to see it actually take place, to see them show this abortion happening, was really, really just heartbreaking. I had this overwhelming sense of the value of those lives, and then suddenly that life being snuffed out, and it just broke my heart. And my wife and I were grieved as we were watching this. I mean, the entire movie theater is weeping as they are watching this, and unfortunately, that's a reality for 300,000 babies a year in the United States. They're snuffed out inside the womb, and this is a really, really heartbreaking thing. So one thing that I hear a lot from pro-abortion advocates is that one, Christians are anti-choice, and I just think that is really, really silly. Or pro-life people are anti-choice, and I just don't agree with that, because like I said, we do support your choice to do whatever you want with your own body, but we draw the line when another life is introduced. That's something we're not okay with. And I think that's a very reasonable and understandable stance to take on abortion. And but I also want to bring up some other choices that women have available to them. So I'm going to first start off by saying I think that the church could be doing more to help women. So I'm gonna come right out and say that. The church has been silent for a long time, and they haven't been outspoken about it. And to a degree, the church hasn't offered a lot of help to women who are struggling with this. Now, I'm not saying this is all churches, because I know that there are churches who are willing to step up and help and be the hands and feet of Jesus in the lives of these women. And I encourage churches to keep doing that, to keep showing women that they too have value, and that we just don't stop caring for them the moment their child is born, but we care for both them and their child, and will continue to work toward to helping them in whatever they need. And I myself know that raising a child is not an easy thing to do. 5 months ago, my wife gave birth to our little girl, and she is absolutely beautiful. But it's difficult to take on that role and responsibility as a parent. And we have two people, so I could not imagine what it must be like for a mother going at it alone. I can't imagine how difficult that has to be for her. And I think that we should come alongside those mothers and support them. And so I think that's something that the church could do better. So I would say if you're a woman and you're considering getting an abortion, there are other resources available for you. So I know that there are crisis pregnancy centers that offer counseling for women in crisis who are facing the challenge of motherhood. And if you're not somebody who wants to keep your child, I understand that. I really do. But I don't think the solution is ending the life of your baby. See, here's something really beautiful. So there are women, countless women, who desperately want to be mothers. They've wanted to be mothers their whole lives, and they are unable to conceive. And the beautiful thing about a mother who doesn't want to take on that responsibility of raising her child can then be a blessing to a mother who does want to take on that responsibility. Because there are mothers who want to adopt your baby and who would do anything to adopt your baby. So if you're thinking about getting an abortion, I would encourage you to change your mind. And look at at least look at the options available to you, because when you go into a Planned Parenthood facility, their objective is to sell you an abortion. And that's their priority. That's their bottom line. And that comes straight from the mouth of the CEO of Planned Parenthood. So you have a bunch of options. And actually, I just saw my friend Mel tune in. She brought up an interesting point in a comment before. And she brought up this radical idea, and it's going to sound crazy to a lot of you. But the idea of abstaining from sex. Now, I know that that's not a popular idea. I know that not a lot of people do it, but that's a choice that we do have. I know it sounds countercultural. I know it sounds wild, but we can choose to not have sex. Not easy. I'm not saying it is, but it is an option available to us. So last I checked, there's no one in our bedrooms forcing us to have sex. That's a choice that we freely make. Now I know that some people will probably bring up the issue of rape. That's something I'd like to talk about in a separate video, because it still doesn't discount the vast majority of abortions that happen. But for the vast majority of people who are seeking abortions, they have a choice prior to that abortion, and that choice is to refrain from having sex. And it is so difficult, I know, in our culture, because our culture is constantly sending this message that we need to give into every want, every need, and every desire that we have. And they don't teach self-discipline, and it's a shame that they don't. Because I believe if our culture did teach self-discipline, that we would be able to exercise restraint when those temptations come upon us. And I'm also going to speak from experience. So I myself am not a saint. I did not save myself until marriage. I had sex before I had met my wife, and when I did meet my wife, she was very adamant about not having sex until she was married. And as I thought she was crazy. I did, but I respected her choice to abstain from having sex. And guess what? For 5 years, we dated and we did not have sex, and we were able to do it. So it's not something that's impossible. It's a possibility that I think we do need to consider. And if you choose to ignore that possibility, then it's no surprise. I don't know why people act shocked when they get pregnant, because when you have sex, there's always the possibility that you're going to get pregnant. There's nothing there shouldn't be anything surprising about it. It is always a possibility that if you have sex, there is a chance that you can get pregnant. So the first choice that you can make if you really don't want children is to abstain from having sex. if you cannot control yourself, if you cannot exercise self-discipline, then you can choose to, then there is contraception available. But again, you're going to run the risk of still getting pregnant because no contraception is foolproof. So there's an opportunity for you to get pregnant there, and that's the risk that you take when you have sex. So those are two choices prior to getting pregnant that you can make. So you can choose to abstain, or you could choose to use contraception, which I would say the first option is probably the best option, and it involves the least amount of risk. So once you get pregnant, then you also have more options. So if you don't want to keep your baby, like I was saying earlier, there are other people who would be willing to adopt your child. They would be willing to care for your child. And you know what? Something that we don't consider is that maybe the father, maybe he would want to take on the responsibility of caring for that child. And I'm going to be the first to say, and I'm speaking to men right now, that this goes for you too. If you're unwilling to step up and be there for the mother of your child and that child, then you are a coward. Honestly, I have no words for men that are unwilling to step up and be involved in their child's life. And I think that's part of the reason that women feel so much pressure to get an abortion, is because they don't have somebody there to help them. And like I said, me and my wife, we're two people. And caring for our one daughter it can be difficult. It can be a challenge. It's not an easy thing. So for a man to leave a woman to go out alone it's just ridiculous. When a woman gets pregnant and she shares this with you, you should be there as a man to step up and be willing to provide and do whatever it takes to care for that baby. Eliminate her concerns that the child is going to be well cared for. Let her know that you will do whatever it takes. You will take on 2 or 3 jobs if you have to provide for that baby. And it's possible. It's possible because I see people do it all the time. I'm not making a lot of money. My wife is not making a lot of money, but we're making it work. We're making it work, and we're caring for our daughter, and we're caring for her well. So again, if you're a man and you're unwilling to step up, that I'm just gonna say you're a coward. And I saw this. A friend of mine posted a meme, and it was talking about vasectomies. And honestly, like, this is gonna sound harsh, but if you're the type of man that's unwilling to step up and be involved in the life of your child, then you should go get a vasectomy, because honestly, you don't deserve testicles. I'm just being real. So men, step up, and women, you have other options. So hopefully you're with a man that's willing to, that if you don't want the child, that he's at least willing to care for the child. And if he's not, and he's out of the picture and you're alone, I still think there are plenty of women and resources available to help you. I know crisis pregnancy centers. There's thousands of them throughout the nation that would be willing to help you with parenting classes or adoption referrals. But they'd be willing to step up and be involved and help you when you're in need. And I think you should take advantage of that. I think that's a really great choice. Again, you have another choice available to you that does not involve ending the life of your child. So there we have now a couple different options for you to choose from. Now, if you choose to have your child, I think that is an amazing and beautiful thing. And I'm not going to discount how difficult parenting is. But then, if you choose to have your child, which is, I would say, the best choice and will bring you the most joy that you could ever possibly imagine, if you choose to love your child selflessly the way that a parent ought to. My daughter has brought me joy that I could not possibly describe, and she's really, really precious, and she brings so much light into the life of myself and my wife and our families. And I'm so grateful for the privilege to be a father. And I know that if you choose to love your child selflessly, that you will share in that same joy. Because that's what kids do. They're a blessing. They just light up our lives. So you have a couple different options available to you, and I really encourage you to take advantage of them. There's a lot that I could talk about with this. I really wanted to actually talk about the Reproductive Health Care Act, and I think I'm going to save that for a later video because that's a lot to unpack in itself. That's a whole different ballpark. So I'm gonna wait and do that in a later video. But I wanted to address just the choices that you have available, because it's something that's often brought up to me, and I think it's one of the bigger concerns is that women really don't feel like they have a choice, and that's why they choose this avenue. And you have a choice, and you can exercise self-control. You can choose to live selflessly for your child. You can choose to give your child up for adoption, and I think you would be a better person for it. I don't think you would I don't think I've really talked to women that don't feel a degree of shame associated with the act of getting an abortion. There's, they always seem to express a degree of guilt in the decision that they made. And I believe it's because they know in their heart of hearts that what they did was end the life of another human being. And I know that's hard to hear, but that's the reality of what we're doing. And we as a people are better than that. We as a people believe in this beautiful thing called inalienable rights, and that all human beings are endowed with the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We should not be a people who denies any human being that right, including our most vulnerable who exist within the womb. One beautiful story in the book of Matthew in the Bible is the story of Jesus inside of Mary's womb, and Mary happens to get pregnant around the same time a woman named Elizabeth is carrying baby John the Baptist in her womb, and when these two women come together, it reads that the babies leapt inside the womb, and I think that is just a beautiful thing, because it's God's way of showing us that life exists within the womb, and that there is an actual living being in there, and God went through great lengths to keep Jesus safe inside the womb. A popular saying in the Christian community is I've heard it said a lot is what would Jesus do? And I think that's a great question to be asking ourselves. But I think a better question we should ask ourselves is this: any Christian that's making the argument for abortion, in favor of abortion, I want you to ask yourself this question: not what would Jesus do, but would I do it to Jesus? And I think if we ask ourselves that question, it puts things into perspective for us, because no Christian in their right mind would abort Jesus. No Christian in their right mind would take the life of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. And Jesus says that what you do to the least of these, you do to me. So when we take the life of a baby in the womb, we're essentially doing that to Jesus. And I know none of us want to do that to Jesus. I know we don't. I know we're better than that. I know that God believes we're better than that. So I just wanted to leave you guys with that today. I'm going to talk about the Reproductive Health Care Act in my next video. I look forward to it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching this and listening. I appreciate it. God bless.